What's up, everyone? My name is Maximilian, and you're watching Episode 8 of Street Fighter X Tekken, The Online Warrior. What's up, everyone? Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Street Fighter X Tekken, The Online Warrior. The drama still stands with this game, and there's a bunch of people still pissed off of Street Fighter X Tekken, but there has been some recent news that has come up saying that Capcom is going to address the infinites fairly soon in a recent patch. So I think the patch for this game is actually going to be coming out within the next week or so, and this is May 1st, I'll be recording this, so hopefully within a couple of days I'll have a next follow-up video that'll go over the patch details, what they're going to be patching infinite-wise, and what they're going to be taking care of in the gameplay system. However, I don't think it's going to be too drastic of changes. I don't think they're going to be going about too much like gameplay mechanic changes, like changing the clock and the timer. I think there was some balance adjustments for some characters, but I'll fully go through all that stuff so you can see what exactly is changing with the characters you're using or you might be playing. And there's some pretty big ones, like some of the main dive kick characters like Jury and Rufus are getting some nerfs and some adjustments, so the game might be changing pretty heavily because those characters are very good. But we'll see. What I wanted to talk about this episode is change, as you noticed from the title. And when it comes to fighting games, I'm sure you guys have noticed, for anyone that's been following the content I've been putting up for the past year or so, when it comes to a fighting game and character loyalty and using a variety of characters, I'm definitely not that guy. I'm so much a person that I kind of stick with the characters I like and stick with the characters I'm good with and just pretty much run through and through. But a lot of the times, especially if you want to be really good at a game, you need to have variety, and I think that variety will definitely help you, especially if you're taking it to a competitive scene. A lot of the time in games like this, especially Street Fighter style games, counterpicking is absolutely necessary. Well, that applies for fighting games in general. You need a character that can definitely go against other characters if that matchup is horrible for your character or team. Now, there's a different kind of mentality when it comes to changing your character selection, and a lot of people, especially a lot of Japanese players, from what I understand over the years of like following what they do compared to like, you know, different scene of players, they really stick it out. Like, it doesn't matter if, you know, Ken was terrible in the original Street Fighter 4 or whatever character they might have used in the first game. They'll just stick it out and they'll play that matchup to its best. Even though that matchup is not going to do very well, it's like 3-7 not in their favor. They're going to play through it, and they're going to try to find a way to beat it, to actually get the victory through. So I really respect that. I respect character loyalty. There's a lot of other mentalities I respect, like going for the win. That's a completely kind of like polar opposite when you're comparing it to a character loyalty thing of just sticking it out with one guy. And I'm kind of this stubborn kind of player when it comes to that stuff. I really like staying with characters I have a personal aesthetic for. For example, like Ken, I've been playing Ken for, I can't even really recall, in Street Fighter games. I used to be like a raw Ryu player, and then I switched over to Ken around the Third Strike CVS2 era, and I just like the character so much, besides his design and the overall way he plays as like a Shoto. Because I think, you know, Shotos kind of represent Street Fighter. If you don't have Shotos in a Street Fighter game, it's not a Street Fighter game, in my opinion. But when it comes to other character selection, it's little things, man. It's little things that make me really want to use a character. I think the reason I like Kazuya so much is that Kazuya just kind of represented the overall Tekken style in Street Fighter X Tekken. He's got high-low mix-ups, he's got good damage, he's got long combo potential, things like that. And there was a couple of things that when I first got my hands on the game and I saw some of his close-range target combos, like his Tekken chains, and he had these really crazy, like, awkward, like, hitting animations. I love the fact that whenever Kazuya punches somebody, it feels so brutally manly, and it looks like it causes so much pain. I think that one reason alone, I actually like playing the character that much, so it's little things when it comes to gameplay mechanics. But now I've moved into new territory, and I don't really like change too much. Like, it's weird how I get nestled in and I get into a comfort zone, especially when it comes to fighting games, and I stick with characters I like. However, I have made these adjustments in other fighters recently. As you guys might have seen in the past, like 3 or 4 episodes of The Online Warrior for another game, which was Ultimate Marvel 3, I started using Deadpool quite a bit, and I had a little bit of experience with Deadpool in the first game, but I hardly ever used him in this one, and I kind of been sticking it out with like Dante, Doom, and Strider. But I really enjoyed picking up a new character, and I think Deadpool is one of my most fun characters to play. So with that mentality, I went into Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and based off the comments you have, and I have read a lot of what you guys were saying about, you know, switch up your characters, Max, and some people not really complaining, but just getting like bored with the same character selection over and over. However, it is me playing. I can defend myself that my character selection is my own, but I understand from a viewing audience, and I kind of do want to make people happy and want to see something new when they're watching these videos. So, as you can tell from watching these videos, or watching the video as of right now, I am using Ogre, and I'm using Ogre on second point of the team of Ken and Ogre. Now, I'm not going to deviate from Ken too much. I'm not going to like jump in and all of a sudden I'm using like Ken and King and Ogre, you know, some crazy team that you would never see me use before. I'm going to stick with the character I understand to create some element of synergy. And I think Ken has really good synergy with some of these characters. Ken and Kazuya work really well together as far as like extending combos and getting good damage off of reversals and stuff like that. And I think Ogre and Ken do as well. As far as mix-up potential, I still have to work some stuff like that, some stuff about that out. But that's the stuff you really need to look for when you're looking to make a change. The first thing I did, actually, I went to using Ogre and Jin, and it just didn't work out very well. There was some stuff that was a lot more difficult, the damage wasn't there, the mix-up opportunity wasn't there, and I was using way too much meter to do what I would use, like, perhaps 1 bar, if not less, with a team like Kazuya and Ken. So that's what you gotta look for. If you're planning on making a change or going towards a new character, find what works best first. In a game like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, the first thing I did, and this is all like day 1 play, I've played a total of about like 30 games in total with Ogre that you guys will be seeing over the span of this episode and next, so you can see a little bit of progression, and you're gonna see me dropping combos with this character because I'm learning how to use the guy, and this is very early stuff. But when you're starting a new character, the first thing I think you need to go and do is find videos of people playing that character that have been using that character for some time. You're going to develop your own play style after some time, but really you find out what's good by mimicking what other people do, and that's the best way to go about it. As long as you understand and you see what somebody else is taking advantage of how they're getting their damage, how they're getting in, what their movement is like, this is important. These are the things that take a really long time to learn, and for people that just pick up a random character like Ogre, for example, which is hardly used, I had a hard time finding many videos of people using Ogre. And I think one of the only guys I really took a lot of inspiration from as far as his play was Filthy Rich, who was at Cross Assault, and he was actually using Ogre quite a bit, going against like Ryan Hart, and it was some awesome matches. And I had a good idea of what Ogre could do just by watching that stuff, and that's what I took to using the character now. And then I watched some combo videos. I came across a guy who has a really good Ogre B&B combo video that was released over the past week or so. If I can possibly find the link to that video, I'll put it in the description below, because the guy did a really good job about showing the options of the character. These are the couple of steps I took before moving into a new character, because I literally only know 2 characters and kind of know a third, and that's Ken and Kazuya and Jin. So for anybody else that's in the same, you know, the same league right now, if you're running into the same issue, I still see a lot, like a lot of people using just Ken and Ryu or Ryu and Ken. And that, I think, needs to change. There's a lot of other really good character variety. It's arguable whether Ken is better than Ryu, but nonetheless, I think there's a lot of different options players can use in this game, and that's why Street Fighter Cross Tekken kind of needs to be explored more. And as a result, like, now I'm using a character that is challenging to use. He's difficult in some sense, where some of his target combos are hard to pull off. His mobility isn't great, but it's learning to move around that stuff and using what his advantages are, like ignoring the weaknesses, trying to make the weaknesses as less apparent as the advantages are, you know, very much apparent. And when it comes to a character like Ogre, you don't see this guy very often, so you run into a lot of people and they don't know exactly what's going on, and that's always really good in your favor. So I recommend, if you're going to go and try to make a change in your game plan, or add a character to your existing team, or change your team up completely, take those steps. Look up some videos, find some B&B combos, find somebody who knows how to use the character already, and then go from there. From this point, as far as the experience I've had with Ogre so far, I did all the things I just said. I went into training mode, I was able to execute said combos. However, when you try out combos in training mode, and then you try to go up against a person or a computer even, a competitive match where you're trying to beat somebody else, the thought process and how your mind works is almost completely different. For myself, that is. When you're trying to connect combos, you just practice the thing for like, 2 hours and you're good to go. When you get into a match, actually landing the combo and then getting into the mindset of getting to the combo are two totally different things. So once you actually have that down, it makes a lot more sense. You're trying to get to that part you've already practiced. And when you're already filled with like ideas that, oh man, I've gotta like find a way to get this mix up, I've got to do my poking game on the bottom, I gotta worry about footsies. You're thinking about all this stuff with a character you don't know too much about, and it becomes frustrating. That's why people drop characters really fast. So it's just a process of thought that I'd like to give you guys to give you an opportunity to try out other characters, because I'm having a lot of fun. Like, I honestly had one of my most fun nights of Street Fighter X Tekken because I was playing with a lot of variety of people, and I was playing with a character I had never really used before and I'd only seen and wanted to use. So I'm really enjoying Ogre. You guys are going to find out some pretty awesome progression throughout this video and the next one. And about 30 games I had with the character, then I'll be highlighting some of the better games and some of the games where you can actually see me either doing poorly or getting better, and I'll be highlighting some of those demonstrations. But as you can also tell, I'm playing on PlayStation Network. I wanted to give a little bit of love to the PSN side of the crowd, as I had not really had much online time with the PSN side of Street Fighter X Tekken yet, so I went ahead and tried out Ogre and brought in Ken and ran into a lot of pretty interesting people. So for the remainder of this episode, let's break down and do some commentary for the matches at hand, and we'll wrap this up and look into the later episodes of Street Fighter X Tekken. So I just caught Jerry on a pretty good uppercut. Like I was saying, reversal uppercuts with this team is great, and as long as Ken has that reversal opportunity, I'm probably going to take it if I have the meter. And if you can see the way I end combos with Ogre, I can end it with a little bit more damage, but I choose to do like that forward poke that sends them flying because they go into the corner. But here comes Bison, and I have hardly seen any Bison at all, but I catch him with, I think, what was an EX Falling Sky? That might be? I'm not too sure. It might be Owl's Hunt. And then I go right into Ogre's Super, which does pretty decent damage. And definitely give him something to think about as far as switching out his next character coming up here. But Ogre is an interesting character. He's that guy that kind of has like really awkward normals. And oh wow, his Bison tagged out almost at the perfect moment for me to get him in, because Lily came in behind. But wow, she goes in for a pretty interesting combo of her own. And I keep getting caught by that. I think it's the Devil's Reverse. It's interesting. I think I'm blocking it. I think I've got the properties, but every single time this guy does it, it hits me, and it's infuriating. But wow, crouching strong just beats it. Pretty interesting. And then, of course, the clock becomes a problem in a match because it's Street Fighter X Tekken, and I'm able to double Shoryuken at the very end to take the game. Next match is going up against a fairly lethal team as well. Hugo and Rolento can be pretty dangerous, but let's see what we got here. Start off the match by doing a little bit of spacing, and Rolento makes his approach using his crouching light punches, which are absolutely freaking amazing. As you see there, I landed the chain combo into sweep, and you'd be surprised how many people end up falling for that. But like I said before, use Ogre to come in at the end of that cross rush and push Rolento into the corner for some pressure. But he makes his way quickly out, and now I just got a couple of cross-ups. That 1-2-3 kick you're seeing with Ogre is actually a target combo, and the follow-up which is with up forward, and I think it's light kick, medium kick, which is another airborne target combo. Ogre's a really crazy character when it comes to stuff like that. It can be pretty difficult to link, and the timing is actually different for almost every character, it feels like. So there's a lot of really unique stuff when it comes to these characters. I tried to tag Rolento at the very end, but Hugo comes in, and now he's getting kicked in the face by a bunch of fire and crossed up like crazy. If I'm able to take advantage of this, no. If you see me go for that stupid foot kick, that's me missing the mid-air target combo, because this is still day one play with Ogre. Still trying to find the best jump-ins, but now Hugo's in a very bad position. Spin him around, throw him into the fire, and it's a KO. That's the most damaging ender Ogre can do, but the biggest problem with it, as you just noticed, it spins them around into the other direction, so you lose your spacing advantage, and you lose your corner. But Ken's starting off with a couple of medium combo, and ooh, just like that, this is where the big damage is with this team. If you go back and you look how much that did, that was like one bar, and ended up being like around 400 or something damage based off a Shoryuken. Go off the super, I think that was a supercharged canceled low forward, which caused a lot of stun damage, and wow, this is going pretty quickly straight into a chain combo, and that'll just about take the game. So as you can see, with a game like this, it's pretty much Ogre's pressure, and it's the fact that the opponent really didn't know what to do against a character like this, and this is the advantage of switching things up, of using characters that you don't see all the time, and I definitely don't see many Ogres, and it definitely worked out in my favor when I was originally using this character early on. And that just about wraps things up for this episode of Street Fighter X Tekken. If you guys want to possibly submit your videos of you playing, I'd be happy to provide commentary for your videos, as it's a little bit difficult to do commentary on my own matches in the style I normally like to do. But until then, thank you all very much for watching the video. Please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or subscribe if you'd like to see more. This has been Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.